I'm Matthew Carl Earl, and I'm the lead composer here at Hexany Audio. Today we're talking about Critical Role.
Critical Role is the coolest D&D game that you've ever seen.
When they started, they were just a couple friends playing D&D just like everybody else, and they're like, hey, we should film this. And then people started catching on and watching it more.
Now it's evolved into so much more. It's a media company, it's a record label, and they've got millions of viewers watching them every time they release an episode.
It's so cool that they have created this entire world basically just themselves, just by playing this game and just seeing where their campaigns lead and just letting this fantasy go wild.
So as Critical Role grew and expanded, they eventually approached us and said, you know, we really want custom music made for the world of Exandria, and specifically Tal'Dorei with this set of music that we did. You know, we looked at the project and we said, wow, this is something different. This is something we haven't done before. And that's always really exciting for us when we can tackle something new and figure it out from the beginning. So we've got a team of 6 composers here at the studio. They all kind of specialize in slightly different styles and things. And so we looked at the large amount of music that Critical Role needed and really started to tackle who can look at this emotion and who can look at this particular track. And I think we came up with some great stuff.
I've grown up playing tabletop RPGs. I still play D&D today. So it was really exciting to get to imagine what that world would sound like.
As we're writing the music, because there's not visuals or any concrete material to write from yet, we really have to use our imaginations just like the players do in their game and just pretend that we're in this world.
I found that challenging, but also really rewarding too, because you had to really use your imagination to kind of come up with a musical landscape to describe these emotions that they were trying to capture.
So one track I wrote was Umbra Hills. The pitch was to write a really creepy, very dark and oppressive track. So in this case, I used a lot of very dark orchestral tones, layered that with choir and recorded myself. So basically created a choir out of my own voice. It's a very, very dark and very D&D track, I think.
And Steven, I gave him a really, really beautiful, peaceful track that he just knocked out of the park.
What I did is I sang some of my own vocals and then I processed them using a little bit of formant shifting, which kind of just changes the timbre of the vocal. And I think it really gave almost like an elven quality to it. So I think it lent itself very well to the Dungeons & Dragons campaign and the fantasy world in general.
So my favorite track to do was this one called Illusory Bonds, which was one of our mysterious tracks. It starts with this really interesting texture, and then it goes through some other different little episodes and then comes back to that texture at the end. And it was a really rewarding track for me to do as a classical orchestral composer. It's something that we just relish in getting that opportunity to just explore all the different colors that the orchestra has to offer.
A really cool thing here at Hexany is we're several composers in-house, and so we get to, not only with Matthew, but some of the other composers will just talk to each other and kind of collaborate a bit on ideas. And so for the boss battle track that I wrote, Matthew and I were talking about some of the orchestration to just help with making it big and grand. And I think that's one of the cool things here at Hexany, is having this collaboration with our colleagues.
One of the wildest things about the way Critical Role plays back their music is Matt, the DM, is actually sitting back there, and he's got like a soundboard with all these different tracks we created, all these different emotions that they can use and play back when they encounter a monster, or when they finally defeat the monster, or if somebody dies, he can just kind of trigger. So the players, as they're experiencing it, and the audience as they're watching it, are just getting these emotions in real time, almost like it's a scored movie. It's actually so cool how a lot of the times when we're writing these little ebbs and flows, that they sync up with the moments that happen. It's really amazing seeing it come together.
It was really exciting that we were able to contribute to the very first album that Critical Role is releasing under their new record label.
Now that the album's out, I'm so excited for everybody to hear all our hard work and to use this music in their own campaigns, and even just listen to it in the car and just enjoy all of our hard work.